things that I hope will come about through the existence of ISIS is people realizing that if their theology makes God look like a terrorist, setting fire to his enemies and watching them smolder with glee, then their theology is hopelessly screwed up and needs to be completely discarded. And that includes you. There is no love in terror, and there is no terror in love. These things are mutually exclusive and cannot coexist together. Either love wins or fear wins. God is not like an ISIS terrorist. God is love. God is not to be feared, but far too many of us haven't been told that yet. I'm someone who didn't receive that message until a little later in life, and all the years I spent fearing God finally caught up with me one day. The midlife crisis. They say that going through a midlife crisis isn't so uncommon, but I don't suppose that makes it any easier to go through one, especially when that midlife crisis is rooted in a crisis of faith on top of all the other things about life we reconsider when we hit middle age. When it hit me, I felt like I had been run over by a truck. I mean, it really sucked. It was like I woke up one day and realized I was supposed to have arrived somewhere by now, but instead had this acute realization that I hadn't arrived anywhere at all. And if I had arrived, then wow, arriving felt a lot different from what I had imagined or hoped for. I felt lost. I had turned 40 years old and was still waiting to become a homeowner. I was driving a car with 230,000 miles on it that I was sure would shit the bed any day. Update. It did while I was writing the later chapters of this book. I was trying to cope and deal with the grief of adopting 4 children but only getting to raise one of them. My marriage was crumbling before my eyes, and on top of all that, I felt like my faith was dying. Or maybe it was dead. I wasn't always sure. My faith crisis was the last straw that sent me into a long spiral that I didn't know I would ever pull out of. All the other things were potentially survivable, but the faith part is what I thought would kill me. Because my faith had always been something that sustained me through the painful seasons of life. I had lost my church, my pastorate, and all my friends over a few crazy Jesus-y ideas. Hating guns and loving gays will do it every time. It was almost unbearable for me to even consider a loss of faith as a possibility on top of all these changes to my Christian community, my personal losses, and potential losses. Yet I could only deny reality for so long. I wasn't sure what I believed anymore, or even if I believed anymore. God had never felt farther away from me, and I had never felt so afraid. To complicate things, even though I had found myself in this dark place where I was unsure about everything other than the fact that my faith didn't work for me anymore, I outwardly appeared both successful and a little bit lucky. I had started a blog about my spiritual transition out of fundamentalist Christianity that became quite popular almost overnight. I had begun getting book deal offers without even seeking them out. I had found myself traveling and speaking around the world, getting invites to talk shows and national radio programs, and I quickly had become seen as a Christian influencer, with millions of people reading my work each year. So traversing a spiritual midlife crisis seemed even more complicated, because I felt like scores of people were watching my journey and expecting me to be a person who provided them with answers to the hard questions. I was supposed to be the one helping those with a crisis of faith. I was not supposed to be the one who needed the help. What would they think if they knew what I am going through? I wondered. Being a public figure within Christianity had a suffocating effect on my personal process, as I felt like my faith and life were under a microscope. I had become known for helping people deconstruct their faith, inviting them to follow along with me. My hope all along had been to lead people to somewhere better, to something better than what so many...